Greetings, my name is Consistency Watcher Pony, and welcome back to the final episode of the month of Love. And for the final episode, we're gonna do something special, because not only is it the final episode of the month of Love, but it's also my 5-year anniversary! And to celebrate this big 5-year anniversary, I'm gonna do something a little special. Because what embodies the month of love and roses and lovey-dovey more than being a princess? Shut up. Besides, considering what I'm reviewing, I think I can make an exception. Because let's be honest, this is probably one of the most well-known specials out there in MLP. And no, it's not G4. No, for this, we gotta go a generation back to G3. That's right, for my 5-year anniversary, we're gonna talk about Princess Promenade. And before I continue, I do need to address the elephant in the room. Yes, this was meant to be a stretch goal on my Patreon. And no, if you looked at my Patreon, I haven't met the stretch goal yet. Which you should totally check it out if you haven't already, by the way. But truth be told, I actually did meet it a couple months ago. And it was just that with everything else that was happening, well, with it being around the holiday season, I just didn't have the time to go into it. So I guess technically I am meeting the Patreon stretch goal. But with that out of the way, let's not hold this back any longer and take a look at Princess Promenade. So this movie begins pretty much exactly as I expected. Pretty colors, some actually pretty decently drawn backgrounds, and of course a nice little piano number, which sounds just a little too much like the town song from Beauty and the Beast. I'm not the only one who hears it, right? Anyway, after the title card begins— oh god, hell demons! Actually, those are the Breezies. Yes, in G3, the Breezies are literally just ponies with antlers and being very tiny. I mean, damn it, say what you will about the Breezies being Swedish stereotypes, at least they look different. But the torment doesn't stop there because they sing. That's why we get our first musical number. I know it was only a matter of time, yet I was kinda hoping it wouldn't happen. Okay, being fair, the first song is actually not terrible. It sounds nice at the very least, and at least the singers can actually sing. And the lyrics, while not amazing or spectacular, aren't bad either. I definitely would not be able to see this in G4, it's not that good, but I'll give credit where credit is due. And then after the song, we finally get introduced to some dialogue, starting with a character named Zipsy sniffing a flower, but it turns out she's allergic. You know, I could make fun of this. I could mock her loving something despite being allergic to it. Hell, I could even mock her being allergic to a flower despite her entire species literally being flower growers. But I really don't give enough of a crap about it, so let's move on.
Sprig. So I thought I'd just drop in and ask, have you heard it's spring?
Who the hell are you and what are you doing in my house? Anyway, after breaking and entering, they all tell the rest of the Breezies that it's time for them to head to Ponyville. But first we have to get this rather unfunny reoccurring joke out of the way, where the 3 main Breezies debate over who's gonna lead, and then they all touch their antennas. That sounded less sturdy in my head, honestly, and then decide to finally get moving. That went on for 15 seconds, and it's not the first time they're gonna do it in this movie. I know it sounds like I'm nitpicking this, but I'm doing this to prove a point about reoccurring jokes. If it's not funny the first time, then it's not gonna be funny the other times you do it, so you have to make sure it's funny the first time, or at the very least not pointless. But then I got that out of the way, they finally lead the Breezies to Ponyville. And then we cut to inside Ponyville, at what I can only assume is a town meeting of some kind, where literally all the ponies are taking a book out of Lyra and sitting like humans. They think they're people, that's adorable. Or maybe they're just animatronics and glued to the seat because these two are not moving. I think they broke down again, someone whack them. Anyway, we then have the main pony trying to get their attention, and to be fair, it actually does lead to one of the only funny jokes in the episode.
The spring promenade, Ponyville's fanciest parade, is just around the corner. Welcome, my friends! Hey! Thank you.
Anyway, we then quickly get some exposition on the spring parade, which is apparently a big deal in this town. Although it's only gonna happen if the Breezies are on time this year. You know, honestly, it's so bizarre hearing all this stuff about the Breezies after going from G4 back to G3. You see not only the origins of the Breezies, but you also see all the little callbacks for it. It's not a bad thing or anything, it's just very bizarre. And speaking of the Breezies, oh god, they're invading! Run for your lives! Okay, they don't actually invade, but with the way they look, can you honestly blame me for thinking that? No, see, what they actually do is that they end up helping the rest of the ponies set up the flowers, which leads to another song. And again, being totally fair, it's not completely and utterly terrible, it at least sounds nice. And the singing is good, although the only issue is, once again, the lyrics. And I don't think I need to tell you that that was going to be a given considering it's a song about flowers. To be fair, not as creatively bankrupt as a song about socks, but we're not here to talk about Minty Christmas. Although yes, Minty is in this episode, but hey, keep away from socks and we should be good. Anyway, after the musical number, our main character ends up finding a weed in the garden. Also, hi Twilight's castle, you're looking less crystally today. Anyways, he tries pulling a weed with the help of this universe's Pinkie Pie, but instead they end up taking a wild ride into the earth, and the Breezes decide who's gonna try and help. And then finally, after one of the Breezes actually goes in there, the other two decide this is the time to not help her. You know, she's not that far away and it doesn't look like either of you are scared. You can still join her. You just gotta go one at a time and not be idiots about it. No, you're just gonna leave? Alright, fine. Anyway, once the three ponies are in the cave, they smell something pretty bad and it leads them to a flower. And under the flower is a Durgan! Actually, it's not just any Durgan, it's Spike! Although it takes him a while to realize that's his name. Yeah, I'd be clueless too if I looked like a reject from Dragon Tales. And actually, as much as I don't want to give Spike crap in this episode, he is pretty much the start of where this episode gets not necessarily problematic, but definitely interesting. But first it's time for a cleaning montage. No, I'm not even joking. We waste part of this episode cleaning him. And not just that, but we have a song number. You know, songs are often used to convey a lot of information in a short amount of time. Like Winter Rapper, for example, it's used to convey the information about the holiday in a short amount of time. Or it can be also used to eat up time if you've done everything you need to do. Or sometimes it can just be used to entertain people. This literally does none of those. We don't need to know the ins and outs of how to take a friggin' bath. There is clearly no pacing problem, so it doesn't need to eat up time, and it's not even entertaining. Oh yeah, side note, the song sucks. Again, it sounds nice, or at least the singing does. The instrumentals not so much, and again, the lyrics are just god awful. And again, it's a song about bathing. This is the shit you sing to your preschoolers. Okay, good point, editor me, but still, that doesn't mean they can't put effort into it. I mean, I've seen way more creatively bankrupt ideas get way better songs. I didn't think such a thing as a goof-off would get a great song, and yet here we are. But I've wasted enough time, let's get back to the episode. Even though I really don't want to. They finally decide to introduce Spike to the rest of Ponyville. Yeah, I forgot to mention, they decided to keep him a secret till after they gave him a bath. I'm at least glad they didn't keep him a secret throughout the whole entire thing, and only after they made him presentable. And he explains everything to the rest of the ponies.
And of course to grant her 3 wishes. No, wait, I believe that's the other fellow. To differ, she's just been sleeping, waiting for Prince Charming. Oh, wrong story.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. Apparently Spike keeps making references to other fairy tales throughout the whole movie, paying particular attention to anything Disney's made a movie out of. I feel like they're trying to do some fourth wall meta jokes with this, but I don't know, it just feels kind of forced. Like to the point where I seriously think they're trying to trick kids into thinking this is on par with Disney movies. Spoiler alert, no friggin' way. Or who knows, maybe Spike is a trans-dimensional hopper and he's gone to the other Disney worlds and he's just in the background somewhere. Great, now I'm imagining Spike as an alternate version of Stitch. Anyway, he then explains to everyone that whoever touches the flower ends up becoming princess, and that was our main character right here. But of course, since he's a princess, he can't actually work on any of the floats like she used to, because princesses don't do that. In fact, they don't seem to do a lot of things in this movie. I'm not even joking, people. There's literally a segment where she goes about doing the things she would normally do, and Spike interjects that she can't do any of that anymore. She can't help with plays, she can't water flowers, she can't play in the dirt, none of that. And granted, all this happens after a musical number, which no, I'm not going to explain this time because I would just be repeating myself. And the rest of the movie is just building up to her hating her princesshood. And honest to God, it gets grating and annoying after a while hearing all these things she can't do. Okay, some of them I at least get and at least make sense in some capacity, like not playing in the dirt. I mean, yeah, that'd be pretty uncouth for a princess, let's just be honest. But it just gets super annoying. I mean, are you seriously telling me a princess can't help with these parade floats? This is essentially a town event. It feels like something that she would need to help with. I'm just saying. And I'm not the only one who thinks that because all the floats are falling apart without her help. Which to be fair does lead to a very humorous moment where Minty and Pinkie end up missing their floats together. I can at least say there was some humorous moments, but it's not enough to detract from the annoyance of this part. It honest to God feels like they're trying to lampoon the whole princess thing. Like they're trying to say, ooh, being a princess is not all it's cracked up to be, kids. But there's kind of a big problem. You're G3 My Little Pony. You're not clever enough to do this. There's a certain art to lampooning the whole princess trope. Hell, Disney's been doing that for the last couple years. All you have to do is look at Wreck-It Ralph 2 and the whole scene with Penelope and the other princesses. It lampoons a lot of the cliches and tropes and points out some other things, while at the same time staying respectful to their material, and not trying to say being a princess isn't all it's cracked up to be like this episode is. Because at the end of the day, Disney realizes that their princess line is still a marketing line, and so if they try to lampoon it by saying it's not all it's cracked up to be, it would kind of be self-defeating marketing. And that's why I think it's so confusing that Princess Promenade is trying to lampoon it by saying all of this. And don't get me wrong, I get the intention, I really do. They're trying to say you don't have to be a princess like everyone says you have to be, you can be a princess in your own way. But it doesn't change the fact that they make it seem not all that glamorous. But alright, I'm done bitching about this scene, let's move on. After more of Spike the Princess Trainer being, well, Spike the Princess Trainer, our main character finally decides C's had enough of this. And yes, I know she has a name, but honestly, I'm gonna forget it right after I'm done reviewing this, so I'm just gonna call her main character. And she decides C doesn't want to act the way a princess is supposed to be, or rather what Spike believes a princess should be. And I'm not counting the rest of the town either because honestly, they're just mimicking what Spike says and are very lethargic in it. Which I don't blame him being as dense as potatoes and thinking that because, well, they are potatoes with glitter on them. And so she decides to stop all this princess training and do things her way, which causes Spike to go into a coma. No, I'm not even joking, he literally goes to sleep. You know, I honestly can't tell if this is an upgrade or a downgrade from G4 Spike. On one hand, he's not getting abused, which thank God, but good God, his stick gets really annoying after a while. And no, I'm not talking about the referencing other fairy tales. I'm talking about more about his princesses should never stick. Though he is fairly useless, so at least that's consistent. Anyway, the real reason why he's falling asleep is because he thinks our main character doesn't want to be a princess anymore and is just gonna sleep until he finds a suitable candidate.
What's the matter with you? Everyone wants to be a princess, even me. Prince.
Can we hear that again?
Everyone wants to be a princess, even me.
One more time.
Everyone wants to be a princess, even me.
Spike, is there something you want to tell the audience? I mean, if you're into that thing, it's fine, but just be truthful, man. Because you clearly said princess the first time. And now that I think about it, G4 Spike did wear a girly apron. I feel like the writers are trying to tell us something about Spike we didn't know. To you computers artists, this is my gift to you. Anyway, our character just explains that she's just gonna be a princess in a different way. Meaning she's actually gonna do shit, which, again, I can't tell if this is supposed to be commentary on the princess line or not. And any chance they have an actual scathing commentary on the line is kind of watered down and destroyed by the fact that it's My Little Fucking Pony. And also by the fact that it's just not clever to actually pull that off. And I'm seriously running out of things to say about this, so let's start wrapping this up. The Breezies get reunited, they touch antennas again, the parade goes on with her being the center of attention being the princess, and she decides to make everyone a princess, so after all that build up and all that stuff, she just makes everyone a princess and that's the final outcome. And apparently everyone is just okay with being declared a member of royalty now. Okay, I'm seriously starting to wonder if this is just really clever commentary and it's going over my head, or if this is just really stupid. Oh wait, I do know, it's really stupid. Kinda like the rest of this special. Now I'll be fair and give it credit that out of all the specials, it is probably the best out of all of them. It's certainly a lot better than anything in 3.5 and it's a hell of a lot better than Minty Christmas. And I mean that genuinely because there were moments that made me laugh in this episode. Okay, it didn't make me laugh constantly, but I'll give credit that it at least tried in some areas. And the backgrounds are at least very pretty to look at, and the animation's not bad, except when it is. But honestly, the biggest problem with the story is the writing. It honestly feels like it wants to be scathing commentary on the princess lineup, and you know what? I would be 100% okay with that. I think it would be amazing to see a girl line actually lampoon some girl tropes like the princess line. Hell, we kind of are getting that with G4 My Little Pony and even to an extent Shiva. But the biggest problem is that it feels like it chickens out halfway and just kind of turns into a generic princess movie. Which is especially jarring considering its confusing as hell message. I mean, I seriously want to ask, what was this episode trying to convey? That it's awesome to be a princess except it's not, but then sometimes it is? That everyone wants to be a princess even though they don't? You should be a princess your way and that way being actually doing governmental work and stuff? Do you see what I mean? It just feels really confused. But at the end of the day, I don't care because it kind of feels like the writers didn't care. I can at least say I was entertained for a little bit, but I'm definitely not coming back to this anytime soon. Well, and that was Princess Promenade. And you know what? I think this was a good way to have 5 years. You know, it's honestly hard to believe I've been doing this for 5 years now. And in those 5 years, it's been one hell of a journey. From my humble beginnings of what the hell was I thinking with this OC, to my OC of today. I started live streaming and I've been doing pretty good at it, getting a decent following. I drank way too much on those live streams. I started a D&D campaign called Questrians. I finally announced my Patreon and even though it's not as far along as I had hoped, I'm still happy for every single cent I'm getting. I was a community guest for the first time ever at a convention last year. And speaking of which, I've been going to conventions a lot more, getting myself out there. And because of those conventions, I've gone to places I would normally never visit. I've seen Milwaukee, I've seen Baltimore, I've seen Seattle, I've even seen Vegas. And I very recently broke 2,500 subscribers. And it means a lot that so many people care about my content. But most importantly of all, I've made so many friggin' friends. Just way too many to count in this video alone. And yes, there was also the bad times. I don't think I need to mention them by name, but I think you know what I'm talking about. But despite that, I'm still happy with where I am. Maybe I'm not as far along as I would have hoped in 5 years, but I know if I keep at it, I'll be where I want to be, making content for you for a living. It's been a hell of a 5 years, and I got no intention of stopping anytime soon, so here's for 5 more. I'm the Watchful Pony, and... Wait, hold on, stop. This doesn't feel right. This is my 5-year anniversary and my 2,500 subscriber special. I need something truly special to send this off with. Wait a minute, It's the Warp Stone. The same Warp Stone I used to defeat the Blinding Pony. Well, I think I have my answer. If it did it once, it can do it again. Though, hopefully not as painfully this time. I think 5 years and so many followers calls for a change in pace. Oh, so many phrases I could do right now. Time to regenerate, it's morphin' time. How about I just say it's time to Watchful up? Oh wow, that is such a buzz to the head. I don't know what the hell you put in those warp stones, Eddie, but... I gotta say, I'm liking my new look already. Holy shit, I have a goatee! Thank you all so much for watching this video. I still can't believe it's been 5 years and I would not be here without people like you guys. You guys honestly gives me the strength to keep this going, and I hope to keep this going for 5 more years. Of course, if you want more, I also do streams every Friday and Saturday over on Twitch. And once I'm able to do this full time, I'll also be doing it every Tuesday as well. I'm currently in the middle of playing Kingdom Hearts, and I'm also doing Questrians hopefully. So be sure to check the description down below for a link to that. And of course, like most people out there, I do also have a Patreon if you want to help support me financially. Even as little as $1 a month will give you early access to my videos. Of course, that's not the only reward, you can also get rewards like directly requesting me things. Just look at the link down below or check out the end card. Of course, there are other ways to support me because now I have a Redbubble. That's right, if you want a piece of Watchful Pony merch, then check the link down below. I currently have 2 items down below, both by Sapphire Heartsong. There are these 2 pictures right here, one is my original dragon design and one is one based off Persona. If you like what you see, then consider getting yourself some merchandise. I may not be getting every single cent from these, but every little bit helps. But that's all I wanted to say for now. Thank you so much for 5 years, and here's to 5 more. I'm the Watchful Pony, and I'll see you guys next time.